Alrighty team, welcome to day 12 I think. This is my carpet I decided to get in the end. It's got a nice pattern on it. Got 3 sheets of that from the warehouse, Bunnings warehouse there. So we'll just pause and go back outside. Right, and filming again. So yeah, with the carpet here, I've got 3 square metre sheets of the cool carpet which we're going to do the floor with. I'm going to carpet the whole floor, including what will eventually be the shower cubicle possibly. But I'm still thinking about whether we really want to do that or not. I mean, I could just put a shoulder charge bag on the outside of the structure with the shower head and just shower outside. Every now and then kind of thing, you know, just use the camp shower kind of thing and have a bit more space on the inside, which is a cool thing. Over here, we've got random bits of wood and stuff. We're building a little desk that fits in around the corner by the door and the bookshelf unit there and whatnot, because obviously you can't start doing art again until I've got a desk to work on. Could work inside, but I want to get that done. Obviously our very important building material there. Get some of that. Right, so let's go look at the thing. Got another coat of paint on this morning before it started getting baking hot. And in here we've got quite a few things stacked in our shelves now. I've just been playing around with fitting all my gear in. I think we'll put the main computers and so forth, little battery units and blah 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 there for our solar setup, because that's right above where our desk is going to be, and most of my charge stuff is for my little micro soldering iron, my tablet, my headphones, things that I generally use around or near the desk. So yeah, it is very bloody warm in here. The ceiling's almost too hot to touch, so that's pretty interesting. One of the things we noted before, we went out to do missions to the hardware store and so forth, getting booze and meat and stuff for Christmas, and I left the door shut, and when we got back, this window and this window were totally covered in condensation, which was weird because it's the middle of summer and I haven't been in here kind of thing. What the fuck? And opened the door and it smelled quite sort of weird and chemically and stuff, so we wiped the condensation off. What we figured out is there's probably remaining moisture left in this wood that I got from out the back, around the back of the yard there. Tantalized, sort of outdoory fencing wood type stuff. It's a bit poisonous basically. So we're going to let that keep cooking and keep shutting the door and wiping the condensation off and stuff to actually just dry that out a bit better, because I assume that's where our issues are coming from and stuff. Something to keep a bit of an eye on though. With the door open in here, it's pretty livable, although my head feels really hot right now because I'm standing by the mezzanine section. So this pocket over here just collects heat like a son of a bitch, but we expected that. I've painted the outside of the structure black and it's very small. It's the middle of summer. So what we're going to do, I've now just hit my minimum on my budget. I've got enough left for feeding me basically for the next week or so. So I need to start arting again, and working for a living. But what we're going to do, so I'm not going to buy fans just yet for ventilation. What we're going to do is cut a little vent system in the back of that shelving unit through the wall there, right near the bottom, and then cut another one in the top, and build some little ply covers and blah blah outside and stuff, and just do passive ventilation for a bit, see how that goes. We can always pop the door open, so that's, it's not really a big deal, and we are looking at a sliding roof type thing, or an opening dome caravan top thing or whatever for in summer. For in the top of the roof there that we'll be doing in stage 2. The other thing we picked up today was some new foam sheets that all lock together here and stuff, and then there's these old ones from out the back as well that have piles of little holes in them. So this one's for you, Dad. This is what we're doing. My dad suggested that I cut a bunch of holes through this 9mm structural but quite flexible plywood. I don't want to do that for 2 reasons. A, structural integrity. Yes, I could space the holes apart and bloody blah. B, it's another job that would take a while and be a pain in the ass. And C, underneath here, I'd then have all these weird holes all through the little roof structure of my desk and work area kind of thing, and I just want to kind of paint that white and run cables through here and do stuff like that. Actually, decided not to bog this edge here as well, because I'm going to run all my cables along there. So my solar systems are on the outside wall of this wall here. So the cables will come in through the vent that I've got to cut, come along this runner, and then go over here to our batteries and stuff like that. And then we'll do our wiring for our lower section lights under here and stuff through this little runner as well. I might even run a pipe along there eventually to pull the cables through. Upper section lights will run through the ceiling frame and stuff like that. But anyway, back to this foam stuff. What we're going to do is it's got lots and lots of holes on the bottom layer of it. So I'm going to cut little channels in between all of the holes so that basically it can ventilate out through the bottom, and then just lay out more of this foam on top. So I'll have about an inch thick of foam to lie on, which should be nice and comfortable. Haven't put the locks on the doors yet. So yeah, I'm going to do that probably today, and at the moment we're just building the desk. So we're going to put some framing in across here. Yeah, stick your head in up over there, bro. It's fucking nuts. Well hot. And touch the ceiling.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's she's fair cooking, but that's all right. We can work with that. That'll give us a sauce finish.
Nowhere near as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, well there you go. So we're about halfway to fucked. So on this level here, I'm going to do a desk. Coming straight out of here, out to about here, and it goes across here, hits the door, goes, fills all that spot, which is that little piece of ply I videoed before. So we'll frame out along here and along in the airspace across here, drop a piece of ply in, and then we'll have our wee desk. I think I might take the wheels off the rolling chair actually, just to drop that height on that a little bit, and that'll counteract for the carpet, which we're going to fit in here. That's just the right thickness to run straight up to these shelves, and recess it all in there and fit it all in nicely and whatnot. And then scrap carpet I'll have for a doormat, because obviously I keep getting the floor all muddy in here because I keep coming in with my shoes on. It's all dirt outside. Stage 2 we might look at some landscaping or putting a wee deck on or something like that, but I don't know. But now we just have a doormat. So over here in that cavity, which we've not put anything in, we'll be closing a lot of that off, putting actual electric ventilation, or at least passive ventilation, into it, and that'll potentially have a wee spot that'll be metal lined for putting a wee gas cooker and, you know, cooking and stuff. So I can set up on my chair, food storage straight under that, and then the other just general store chucked in under there. And then, as I said, obviously where the chair is now, that's theoretically where a bog could go, or toilet, for those of you who don't know the slang, and shower head coming in through there. But we're just going to live in here for a bit and see what we think of it as is, and maybe I'll just put some more shelving in there and not actually do the toilet unit. I'm not really sure. I mean, for a lot of people this would be a problem, but for me the idea of showering outside under a shoulder charge bag with maybe a bit of tarp around to sort of cover my nakedness from the neighbours and on-looking people, and if I'm in a less urban environment, you know, eventually I'll put the structure in a wee forest somewhere, or out on the back of a mate's like farm property or whatever I'm doing. If I don't have ready access to a toilet like I do here, I'm not averse to just shitting in a bucket and then composting it, and or burning it all once a week, or doing long drops or various other things like that. But it would be kind of cool eventually to build the cool burn shitter system I came up with, which has a flush toilet, which then sends all the waste through a mesh filter that picks up the toilet paper and the shit and all the rest of it, drops the piss and nasty through to a stacked filter made out of coal and then stone, gravel, and then coal, and then gravel, and then coal. It's a homemade HEPA filter basically in a barrel, which will then vent that water initially to a planter pot, just sort of, you know, plants die, then it's too toxic, and eventually just drop that straight to ground. Same with the shower water, and then the mesh filter layer will be, you know, a tray type system under the house that you can pull out, and then, you know, once every week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, compost that or burn it. But at that point it's just dry crap and toilet paper, so burning it or composting it becomes more of a viable thing. What the military normally does is everyone shits in a barrel, and then some poor bastard, this is where the term shit detail comes from, some poor bastard has to go out there with a jerry can full of diesel, pour the diesel in on top, stir it around a bit, set the fucker on fire, and then keep stirring, which is the shit detail. It's fucking awful as a job. It stinks to high heaven, and it's really, really evil, and it takes a while too. Whereas if you separate your fluids and your solids in your waste, then composting, burning, or otherwise disposing of that waste becomes a lot easier, and then you've just got fluids to deal with, which is, for one person using the space, you know, having the odd shower and stuff like that, that's not a lot of toxicity to take care of. You could pretty much just drop it to ground, and it wouldn't be that big a deal, but obviously I want to be a bit more eco-savvy than that, so yeah, I'll be dropping it through a filter system and trying to make it as clean and doable as possible, possibly even collect that water post the filter and use it for watering a garden or something like that. But these are all sort of stage 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, later on down the track sort of ideas and stuff. I just want to live in this structure with easy access to a shower and a toilet inside like a normal person for now. And yeah, then we'll see how we go. So obviously we've got to lay in our carpet, put our foam deck system on, install our solar, paint, bog and paint our interior, then get all our lights roped in, and then we can really start using this space pretty effectively. But I might crash in here tonight with the door open. It's pretty fucking warm at the moment. Once the sun goes, it won't be. And it's a good indication for winter. The amount of solar energy I'm picking up into the walls and stuff because of that black paint is quite a lot. So in winter that will be helpful. In summer it's a bit of a problem for ventilation, meaning I'll need more ventilation, and air conditioning will be a bit of an issue. But in winter that'll give me a bit of passive warmth, because we'll also be painting the inside white, so outside collects heat with the black, inside radiates it with the white. So with the door shut in winter it should actually be relatively warm-ish in here, and then we can look at putting a micro heater system down by the cold intake vent area where I'm currently storing paint and whatnot. The other thing was, I wanted in this structure to have the biggest windows possible. Something I learned from living in like small structures and wee camping things I did and stuff was condensation is a huge issue. So it was kind of cool seeing that condensation before. It's a bit scary where it's coming from and stuff. We would definitely be drying this wood out more and doing a bit more fuck around in that way before we go painting it, to seal it all off. Because obviously I don't want to gas myself with all kinds of weird tannalized wood chemicals. However, it was interesting to see that this large window didn't collect any condensation at all. It was just on these two here, but that gave me an indicator for how effective my game plan is for condensation. So the game plan is basically have a lot of windows on the shady side of the house. That basically means that the windows will be the coldest thing at all times, and thus condensation will collect on them, which means I can then wipe that off, and it'll be easy for me to collect that condensation and dispose of it. The problem you have normally in structures this size or smaller, which I've lived in lots, or in tents, or anyone who's done anything like that, is once you seal up for the night to keep warm, you wake up in the morning and everything's running the fuck wet. So what you do to get around that is create a lot of surface area somewhere where it's convenient, like say in the doors in this wall, that's going to stay colder than everything else, glass. And then all the condensation will collect on there instead of on your wall and your ceiling and various other places like that. So it's actually quite useful. So not really much else to say for today. I'm going to keep drinking beer and puttering away working on this desk sort of thing. Tomorrow's Christmas, so I will be taking a break off the videoing and stuff like that, and it may be another few days before I come back with some more progress. So I'll make the videos a bit less regular now. Instead of once every day, it'll be once every couple of days or whatever, just to sort of update on a few bits and pieces that we've added as we go, because now I'll be, instead of spending full days working on this, I'll be getting back into doing my art and so forth. By all means, check me out on Facebook, Ben Sampey, that's S-A-M for mother P-E-Y on Facebook. Also same name on Instagram if you are into buying artwork and like pretty pictures of skulls and birds and interesting stuff that I draw. By all means, check me out. That is how I usually make my money. I've just been very, very fortunate in this case to have the help of a bunch of friends, or particularly my mate that I live with here, for use of the land and help with transport and hanging the door, and then also my patron, who unfortunately wishes to remain anonymous, who's paid for all of this, which is amazing. The kind of money I make as an artist, I'm not very well off at all. In fact, I'm fucking poor usually, and paying for all of this would have been impossible for me. I would have had to do it in stages, and it would have taken months and months and months, or saving up for the whole budget would have taken years. So my patron effectively turned my 5-year plan into a 2-month plan, which we're now getting towards the end of. And I'm absurdly grateful to them. It's amazing, because basically what this has meant is I've now got a structure I don't have to pay rent for, I don't have to pay power bills. I get free internet here because these guys are on just one of those plans where they just pay a basic rate, and they're happy to just let me use some internet as well. And that's all I need, really. And I've got used to the shower and toilet again. Much gratitude to them. So that means that my bills per week have now dropped to feeding myself, which I can do very cheaply. And yeah, that's just freaking amazing. I've got a friend who's got a bar that I've started doing a little bit of glassy work in and stuff, because I've done that before. I find it quite a cool job because it's just monkey work and you don't have to think much. You just sort of have to talk to people and have a few beers and clean dishes, which is something I really like to do. It's a bit of a wind down. And there's the potential there that currently I'm just doing it for sort of beers and because I can, but there's a potential I can make a little money there as well, and that'll mean, yeah, feeding myself is not going to be a problem. So much as it's just a little shed-sized structure that's got some clever in it and stuff, this really represents me being set for life in a lot of ways. I may eventually sell this and upgrade to something bigger and cooler or whatever, or move elsewhere, or I don't really know, but this is what you get. I'd say I will at some point do a proper go through all the receipts from the Bunnings warehouse and the hardware stores and stuff and tell you the exact number that this took, but it is well south or lower than $2,000 New Zealand, and probably not that much north of 1,000, maybe 1,500. So yeah, let's call it $1,500. You can do this. That is predicated on me doing things like having a $300 budget for windows and doors and then getting them for 50. And you know, roof rafters, some of the foam there, and a few other bits and pieces being donated, and stuff like that. So for a realistic budget to build something like this for yourself, including the solar power, paint, you know, fully finished and ready to go, which we're not quite yet, but you know, close enough, $2,000 New Zealand would do it. And in other countries where hardware materials cost a lot less than they do here, you could do it even less than that, and that's using all brand new materials as well, largely, apart from the odd bit of donated stuff and whatnot. So, and you know, I can't really build to save myself. I can design, I can conceptualize and stuff. These are where my qualifications at. You know, there's gaps all through the structure here and stuff like that, but it holds up. My mate had a look at it the other day, kicked it around and gave it a shove and stuff, and it feels solid as, and really good. I have no concerns about being in here in an earthquake or anything like that. So yeah, surprising what you can do for relatively small amounts of money. To me, it's a huge amount of money, you know, several $1,000s New Zealand, but well, our budget for this build was 3,000. And about $1,000 of that, I would say, has gone on food, some bit of tools and things like that, bit of booze, and just general living expenses, and you know, living a little bit nicer and more easily, and having a bit more fun than I normally do in a given few weeks. But so thanks very much, patron. That was very nice of you to chuck us the funds there, not only to build this, but to, you know, have a good time while I'm doing so. But there you have it, team. I'll zip back over here. Get yourself a nice wee box to live in for not an insane amount of money, really. I mean, I was just in the warehouse today, and for something a quarter the size of this, as a kit set, you buy it, $2,000 New Zealand. For a little wee weatherboard shed thing that you could just store some garden tools and stuff. So basically for the same price or less, I've done something that looks way cooler, that you can live in, that is solar powered and potentially has space for a toilet and a bathroom and, you know, the whole kit and caboodle. So I'm pretty fucking stoked, to be honest. So I'm going to continue enjoying my beer and maybe putter away on some work, and everyone have a good Christmas, and we'll get back to you, I'd say probably in the new year. Have a good one, team.